Let me ask you something most people won't say out loud. What kind of life are you building? And would the person you love actually want to be part of it? Because, let's be honest, a
them
lot of men
rickety
spend their time
vans,
trying to get the right
them
woman, but
buses,
very few are
them
asking,
charter
am I
buses.
becoming the kind of man
When
she'd
the
feel
train
safe building a
station
future with?
here in downtown been
We
already
chase success.
fixed, if it was the same
We
problem,
chase
why is it
status.
taking longer to fix in our
We
neighborhoods?
chase admiration. But none of that guarantees
Why is the
connection.
train taking so long to fix? We
None
got
of that
places to
guarantees
be.
respect. And none of that guarantees love. Not the kind that lasts. See, the goal isn't just to attract her.
You want to know what I gotta
The goal is
say?
to sustain her trust. To create a
Jersey
life where her
City
heart can breathe,
is so
her voice can
diverse.
matter, and her presence feels
So
wanted,
why do
not
we
just
treat
tolerated.
black people the way
Not just
we
tolerated.
do? Oh,
This
we
isn't
need a
about
medic.
perfection. It's about
Right
intention.
here.
Because you can't fake a life worth staying in. You have to build it. And if you want to build a life women love to be part of, it starts with who you're becoming long before anyone's watching. Let's talk about that. Most people think building a life that women want to be part of is about showing off. Flashy career. Nice car. Big house. But the truth is, and I want you to really lean into this, most women don't fall in love with the things you have. They fall in love with the direction you're headed. You can have all the shiny pieces of success, but if you don't know where you're going with it, it's just noise. Purpose, that's the difference. That's what creates magnetism. That's what makes someone want to walk alongside you, not just watch you from a distance. Purpose is quiet. It doesn't yell. It doesn't yell. Hi. It doesn't flex. It's not trying to prove anything. It simply exists like a compass. And when someone meets you and they see that you're moving with direction, not perfection, but direction, something shifts. Trust builds, respect builds, interest builds. Because women, the ones who are emotionally grounded and ready for something real, they're not looking for someone to chase. They're looking for someone to build with. But here's the tension. A lot of people are trying to lead with pressure, not purpose. They pressure themselves to be perfect. They pressure others to see their value. They pressure relationships to move faster than they're ready for. Pressure doesn't invite people in. Pressure pushes people away. It creates anxiety instead of peace. And peace is where love lives. I've seen people working so hard to convince someone to stay when what they really need is to work on why they want them to stay. If your life doesn't have a clear why, then it doesn't matter who joins it. It's going to feel aimless. No one wants to sit on a boat that's drifting with no destination, even if the boat is fancy, even if the waves are calm. Eventually the question will come, where are we going? This isn't about having it all figured out. Nobody has all the answers, but the right question, that's powerful. The right intention, that's magnetic. A man with purpose doesn't have to beg for loyalty. He doesn't have to manipulate affection. He simply invites someone into a story worth living. That's leadership. And that's love. Not the romanticized kind. The real kind. And you know what makes this even more powerful? When your purpose isn't just about you, that's where the game changes. Because selfish ambition might get attention for a little while, but selfless purpose builds connection that lasts. When a woman sees that your drive includes something bigger than just your own ego, she feels safe joining it. She feels inspired to contribute to it, and she trusts that if she's going to pour her time, energy, and heart into your world, it's not going to be wasted. Oh. Some of the strongest women I've ever seen didn't need a man to rescue them. They needed a man to respect them enough to walk in partnership with them. Not in front of them, not behind them, not behind them, but with them, shoulder to shoulder, moving together in purpose. Because when two people align their why, it becomes so much more than a relationship. It becomes a mission, a force. So the question becomes, what are you building that's worth being part of? What vision are you carrying that's not dependent on someone else's approval, but inspired by something deeper inside you? Because here's the truth. If you're building a life just to impress women, it will never be enough. But if you're building a life that impacts people, women will notice. Not because you demanded attention, but because you lived with intention. Leading with purpose isn't loud. It's not about shouting a look at me. It's about living in such a way that people
them
can feel
rickety
the strength in your
vans,
silence,
them
the clarity
buses,
in your
them charter
decisions,
buses,
the peace in your
when
presence,
the train stations
peace
here
in your
in
presence.
downtown
That's
been
what
already
invites someone to
fixed.
walk with
If
you.
it was the same problem,
Not
why
because
is
they
it taking
have
longer
to,
to fix in
but
our
because they want to.
neighborhoods?
And when someone chooses to
Why
walk
is
with
the train
you,
taking
not
so
because
long to
of
fix?
pressure,
We got places
but
to
because of
be.
shared purpose. That's the kind of relationship that doesn't just exist.
You want to
Because
know what I
pressure
gotta
can push
say?
people to say yes in the moment.
Jersey
But
City
purpose gives them a reason to
is
stay for a
so
lifetime.
diverse.
We spend so much
So
time
why
being
do
told
we
that providing
treat
means
black
paying the
people the
bills.
way we
That
do?
leadership
Oh,
in a
we
relationship
need a
means
medic.
offering material
Right here.
stability. And yes, let's not downplay it. Financial responsibility does matter. It reflects discipline, maturity, and the ability to carry weight when life gets heavy. But if you think that's the only kind of safety that matters, you're missing the point. Because you can provide a house, and she still feel homeless in your presence. You can put food on the table, and she still feel emotionally starved. You can give her everything she could possibly want on the outside, and yet leave her feeling completely alone on the inside. Emotional safety is the foundation of every relationship that lasts, not luxury, not income, not appearances. Emotional safety. It's the difference between existing next to someone and connecting with them. Oh. And the truth is, that kind of safety doesn't come from your wallet. It comes from your words, your tone, your ability to be a steady place when life gets loud. Most people don't understand what it actually feels like to be emotionally safe until they experience it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about knowing that when she speaks, she won't be dismissed. That when she's vulnerable, she won't be judged. That when she shows you the parts of her that aren't polished or put together, you won't walk away. You want to build a life a woman wants to be part of? Start by becoming the kind of person she doesn't have to guard herself from. She doesn't want to feel like she has to shrink to keep the peace. She wants to be able to breathe, to bring her full self into the room, and know you won't weaponize her emotions or turn her fears into reasons to push her away. And here's the thing most people miss. Emotional safety isn't just created when things are going well. It's revealed when they're not. Can you handle her tears without trying to rush her to stop crying? Can you hear her frustration without taking it personally? Can you stay in the conversation when it's uncomfortable? Not to win, but to understand. Sometimes love isn't about having all the answers. It's about making room for the questions, for the doubts, for the hard days, because she doesn't need you to be a superhero. She needs you to be human, consistently, calmly, honestly human. That's safety. Think about the last time someone made you feel safe. What was it about them? It probably wasn't the way they looked or what they owned. It was how they made you feel. Like you mattered. Like your feelings weren't a burden. Like you didn't have to earn your right to be heard. That's what emotional safety does. It creates a space where love isn't forced. It's fostered. It's fostered. And when a woman finds that space in your presence, she brings parts of herself you've never seen before. Her creativity, her joy, her softness, her passion, all those things that can't thrive in tension, they flourish in safety. You want her to be at peace with you? Peace with you? Then become the kind of man who creates peace in her. Not by controlling her, but by covering her with understanding, trust, and patience. Now, let's be real. It's easy to throw money at a problem. It's harder to sit down, stay present, and talk it through. But I promise you this. When you stop thinking of love as something you buy and start treating it as something you build, everything changes. Because no matter how much you earn, you can't purchase emotional presence. You can't outsource trust. You can't swipe a card and get vulnerability delivered to your doorstep. Those things are earned through consistency, kindness, and the willingness to be uncomfortable without running away. So yes, be a provider, be a protector, take care of your responsibilities. But don't forget this. She will remember how
them
you make her
rickety
feel long
vans,
after she forgets how
them
much you
buses,
spent. She will
them
remember
charter
whether your
buses.
words were safe,
When the train
whether your
station
eyes looked at her
here
with
in
patience or
downtown been
pressure,
already fixed.
whether your
If it was
words
the
made her
same
feel
problem, why is it
old
taking
or
longer to
trapped.
fix in our neighborhoods?
Build her a world she doesn't want to escape from.
Why is the train
Not
taking
because
so
it's
long
full
to
of
fix?
stuff,
We got places to
because it's
be.
full of safety. Because emotional safety doesn't just make her stay. It makes her come.
You want to know
One
what
of
I
the
gotta
biggest
say?
mistakes we make in relationships,
Jersey
especially
City
men,
is
is
so
assuming that being a good
diverse.
listener means being a good fixer.
So why do
If
we
she's coming
treat
to us
black
with a
people the
problem,
way we
it's our
do?
job
Oh, we
to
need
solve it.
we need a medic right here.
Solve it. That if she's upset, the best thing we can do is jump into action and eliminate whatever caused the emotion. But here's what so many of us miss. Sometimes, she doesn't need a solution. She needs to be seen. She needs to feel heard. She needs someone who will sit with her in the tension, not someone who's so uncomfortable with her emotions that he immediately tries to shut them down or tidy them up. We think we're helping. We think we're helping strong. But what we're actually doing is silencing her experience. Not because we don't care, but because we don't know how to care without control. Let me say this. Being a strong partner isn't about how quickly you can fix a situation. It's about how deeply you can stay present in it. It's about resisting the urge to interrupt. It's about learning to hold space, even when the space feels messy, especially then. You know what a woman truly longs for when she opens up? It's not a checklist of steps. It's connection. She wants to know, do you get me? Can you hear me? Or will you stay with me in this place I rarely let others into? That moment is not a test. It's not a trap. It's an invitation into intimacy. Into trust. Into the sacred ground of her inner world. But what do most of us do? We listen with half our attention while planning what to say next. Or worse, we correct her feelings. We say things like, you're overreacting, or it's not a big deal, or you're just being emotional. And in that moment, what she hears isn't logic, it's rejection, dismissal, emotional isolation. Listening without fixing is an art. And it's hard, because it requires humility. It asks us to let go of control. It demands that we stop treating conversations like problems to be solved and start treating them like bridges to be built. You want to build a life a woman wants to be part of? Then become the kind of man who listens with your whole presence. And not just your ears, but your posture, your eyes, your silence, your lack of interruptions. Because those things speak louder than advice ever could. The truth is, most women already know the answers to what they're talking about. She's not coming to you because she's incapable. She's coming to you because she chooses you. And if the only version of support you offer is fixing, you'll make her feel like a problem instead of a person. That's not love. That's control dressed up as help. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I hear you. That sounds really hard. I'm here. I'm here. Now to have you tried this? Not a well, you shouldn't feel that way. Just, I'm with you. You know what that does? It tells her she's not crazy, that she's not too much, that her emotions are not an inconvenience, they're a part of her humanity. And when she feels that, really feels that, she starts to trust you in ways you can't manufacture. She starts to open parts of herself you didn't even know existed. Because she knows she won't be judged for them. She knows she's safe with you. And here's the reward. When a woman feels fully heard, she responds with a level of love, loyalty, and emotional generosity that's unmatched. You don't have to pull it out of her. You just have to make room for it. So the next time she starts to share something, even if it seems small or confusing or emotionally intense, take a breath. Pause the instinct to fix, and just be there. Watch what happens when you choose presence over pressure. Watch what happens when you give her space instead of solutions. She's not asking you to be her therapist. She's asking you to be her person. And that starts with listening, really listening, without trying to fix the very heart she trusted you enough to show. Because the goal of listening isn't to fix her.
Them
It's
rickety
to free her.
vans, them
It's to free
buses,
her. We talk a
them
lot
charter
about love,
buses.
about loyalty,
When the
about
train
standing
station
by each other.
here in
But you know what's
downtown
often
been
overlooked.
already fixed,
Honor.
if it was the same problem,
That's
why
not
is
a
it taking
word we
longer to
throw
fix in
around much
our
anymore.
neighborhoods?
Not in relationships.
Why is the train taking
wanna
so
be
long
loved.
to fix? We got places to be.
But do we honor? See, when someone supports you, consistently, quietly,
You want to know what I
faithfully,
gotta say?
it becomes easy to expect it.
Jersey
It becomes
City
normal. And
is
once it becomes
so
normal, we
diverse.
stop seeing it for what it really
So
is.
why do we
Sacred.
treat black
The small
people the
things she
way
does
we
start to
do?
blur
Oh,
into
we
the
need a
background.
medic.
The way she
Right here.
encourages you when you're discouraged. The way she listens even when she's tired. The way she shows up. Not just when you win, but when you're falling apart. But here's the truth. Presence is a gift, and it's not a guaranteed one. Just because someone shows up for you over and over again doesn't mean you're entitled to it. Their support isn't your birthright. Their encouragement isn't your property. Their love is a choice they keep making, and if you're not careful, you'll start to treat that choice like a habit, something automatic, something expected, something that just happens whether or not you nurture it. The danger is when we start assuming their presence instead of appreciating it. And eventually, assumption leads to entitlement. Entitlement leads to neglect. And neglect leads to distance. And then we ask, what happened? What happened as we stopped honoring her? A woman doesn't want to just support your vision. She wants to feel valued within it. She doesn't want to feel like a background character in your story. She wants to know that she's part of the narrative, that she matters not just for what she gives, but for who she is. When was the last time you looked her in the eyes and thanked her for showing up on the hard days? For praying for you when you didn't even have the words to pray for yourself? For believing in you when you didn't believe in yourself? When was the last time you told her, you make this life better, not because you do things for me, but because of who you are to me? Honor. It's not just gratitude, it's recognition. It's saying, I don't take your presence for granted. I see you. I value you. I still choose you. Honor isn't a performance. It's how you speak to her when no one's watching. It's how you talk about her when she's not in the room. It's the way you make space for her voice, even when your pride wants the final say. It's the way you show her she's not just needed, she's wanted. There's a difference between someone who says, I love you, and someone who shows, I cherish you. Between someone who asks for support and someone who honors the support already given. She doesn't want a thank you speech. She wants small moments of intentional awareness. She wants to feel seen in the daily rhythms, not just the big anniversaries and Instagram captions. She wants to know that her presence changes the atmosphere of your life and that you're not numb to that reality. Here's the thing. Women get tired too. Strong women need support too. The ones who always have your back sometimes wonder if anyone notices how much they carry. They carry. And if you're not careful, the one who's been your biggest cheerleader will become the one who feels the most unseen. Not because you stopped loving her, but because you stopped showing her she matters. So if you want to build a life she wants to be part of, not just feels obligated to stay in, then let your daily behavior reflect that her presence is never something you take lightly. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be present. Emotionally, it's not about gifts or grand romantic gestures, though those are great. It's about the quiet dignity of saying, you matter to me, and I won't let the familiarity of our closeness become the reason I stop cherishing you. Because when a woman feels honored, not just loved, she thrives. She softens, she opens, she invests. And that kind of connection, that doesn't fade with time, it deepens with it. You want her heart? Then honor her presence like it's not guaranteed. Because one day you'll look back and realize the thing you thought was normal was actually sacred all along. And if you don't learn how to see it now, you'll lose it later. So don't just expect her support. Rise up and match it with honor. There's something quietly dangerous about
them
getting
rickety
comfortable.
vans,
At first, it
them
feels good,
buses,
like you've
them
arrived,
charter
like you
buses.
figured it out.
When the
You've got the
train station
relationship,
here in
maybe a
downtown
job,
been
a
already
rhythm,
fixed,
a
if it was the
routine.
same problem, why is it taking
But
longer to
then,
fix in
without
our
even realizing
neighborhoods?
it, you start to slow down.
Why is the
Not
train
because
taking
you're
so long
tired,
to fix?
but
We got
because you've
places to
convinced
be.
yourself you don't need to keep climbing. You've stopped growing. And here's what nobody tells you. Growth isn't just for you.
You want to know what I
It's
gotta say?
for the people you
Jersey
love.
City
Because when you
is
grow,
so
you don't
diverse.
just change your life.
So why do
You
we
expand the
treat
space for
black
others to
people
rise
the
with
way
you.
we do?
Women don't
we
want
need
perfect
we need a
men.
medic.
Let's make
right
that clear.
here.
They don't want someone who has all the answers all the time, but they do crave connection with someone who's becoming. Someone who's pursuing depth, stretching his mindset, chasing maturity. Not out of insecurity or pressure, but because it matters. Because staying the same is actually moving backward. See, a woman can love where you are right now, but she'll feel most alive walking beside you when she sees you becoming more of who you were created to be. When she watches you wrestle with your flaws, not hide from them. When she sees you ask better questions. When she hears you apologize without ego. When she sees you taking responsibility for your inner world, not blaming her for every emotional storm you haven't learned to navigate yet. That's attractive. That's magnetic. Because growth is an act of humility. Because growth is an act of humility. It says, I know I don't have it all together, but I'm not staying stuck either. You want to build a life a woman loves being part of? Then don't just say you love her. Show her through your evolution. Let her see you putting in the emotional work. Let her see you getting therapy if you need it. Let her see you unpack the baggage you've been carrying from childhood or past relationships. Not just for her, but for yourself, for your future, for your freedom. Because the truth is, the version of you that's standing here today can't handle the weight of the future that's calling you. You need a wiser mind, a stronger heart, a gentler spirit, a clearer vision, and that comes through intentional growth. Now, I know what some people are thinking. I am who I am. If she loves me, she'll accept me as I am. Yes, and no. Yes, real love accepts you in your rawest form. But real love also calls you higher. It doesn't settle for surface level habits and outdated thinking. It invites you into wholeness. And if you really love her, wouldn't you want to become someone who can love her more completely, more patiently, more selflessly? Let me ask you something. When's the last time you picked up a book that challenged your thinking? When's the last time you examined your own beliefs and asked, where did this come from? Is it healthy? Or did I just inherit it? When's the last time you had a hard conversation? Not to win, but to understand? Not to prove a point, but to protect the connection? Growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like sitting quietly with your thoughts, noticing what triggers you, and asking why. And sometimes it looks like choosing not to raise your voice, even when you feel justified. Sometimes it looks like unlearning the version of masculinity that told you emotions are weakness, and instead, learning how to be strong and soft at the same time. And listen, you don't grow so you can impress her. You grow so you can carry her heart better, so you can show up with more peace, so you can lead with vision, so you can be trusted with the parts of her that are sacred. Because the deeper you go, the safer she feels. And the safer she feels, the more fully she shows up. Growth is the proof that love isn't stagnant, that your relationship is alive, that you're willing to evolve, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You can't lead her somewhere you're not willing to go. You can't ask for her respect if you're not respecting yourself enough to grow. You can't build a future on the foundation of who you used to be. You have to keep becoming. So the question isn't, am I good enough for her now? The question is, am I becoming the kind of man who makes her feel more alive just by being in my presence? Keep growing. Not because you are broken. Not because you're behind, but because your future, her future with you, deserves nothing less than your becoming. Because when you grow,
them rickety
love breathes.
vans,
And when
them
love breathes,
buses,
everything
them
flourishes.
charter buses.
When someone feels loved
When
only
the train
behind closed
stations
doors, but
here
invisible out in
in
the world,
downtown
it
been
creates a
already
fracture,
fixed.
a
If
subtle,
it was the
slow
same
burning
problem,
pain.
why is it taking longer to fix
It
in
sends a
our
message that
neighborhoods?
says, you're good enough for me, but not for
Why
them.
is the train taking so long to fix? We got places to
And
be.
that's not love. That's convenience. That's fear dressed up as love. You want to build a life a woman
You wanna
truly
know what I
wants to
gotta
be
say?
part of? Then love her in
Jersey
public.
City
Not performatively.
is so
Not for
diverse.
validation, but because
So
you're proud
why
to
do
stand
we
beside
treat
her.
black people
It
the
doesn't
way
take a
we
grand
do?
romantic
Oh, we need
gesture
a
to make her
medic
feel
right here.
valued. Sometimes it's the smallest things, the way you speak her name with kindness in front of others, the way your tone doesn't change when your friends are around, the way you mention her with reverence, not reluctance. Because when you love someone in public, what you're really saying is, I'm not afraid of being known with you. I'm not hiding. I'm not minimizing you so I can maximize my image. But let's be clear, public love doesn't mean being loud. It means being intentional. Fuck you. It means you show consistency between your private words and your public actions. It means the way you look at her across a crowded room still says, or the one I choose, even if you haven't said a word. And then there's the other side of it. Protecting her in private. And I'm not talking about guarding her from physical harm, although, yes, that matters. I'm talking about guarding her emotionally, spiritually. Relationally, I'm talking about what you do when no one's watching, when it's just the two of you and things get hard and tempers rise. What does your love look like then? It's easy to be the protector when danger comes from the outside. But what about when you're the storm? What about when it's your words, your silence, your distance that wounds her? Do you catch yourself before your anger turns sharp? Do you own your part? Or do you turn her feelings into a courtroom drama where she's always on trial? Protecting her in private means protecting her from you, from the unprocessed anger, from the careless comments, from the emotional withdrawal that creates confusion and fear. It means you care about the atmosphere you create in her life, not just in the moment, but in the long run. And don't get it twisted, protection isn't control. It's not domination. It's not calling the shots and then calling it love. Protection is creating a container where she can be her fullest self without paying a price for it, where her softness isn't seen as weakness and her strength isn't seen as a threat. Because the truth is, she wants to be loved by someone who isn't just there when things are smooth, but someone who knows how to anchor the ship when the waters get rough. Someone who doesn't just shine when the lights are on, but who shows up with the same tenderness, the same intentionality behind the scenes. You want her to feel safe? Then let your love be predictable in the best way. Not boring, but stable. So she doesn't have to wonder which version of you she's going to get on any given day. You don't need to be perfect. But if you say you love her, then protect that love. Cover it. Nourish it. Don't let your ego win at the expense of the relationship. Don't let pride be louder than presence. Be the kind of man who refuses to weaponize silence or sarcasm when things don't go his way. Loving her in public might get attention, but protecting her in private, that earns trust. That's what makes her heart rest. That's what gives her permission to lean in, not with caution, but with confidence. Think about this. How many people can she really count on when everything falls apart? How many people can she be raw with? Not edited, not polished, but real. If you want to be one of those people, you have to earn it. And you earn it by protecting the sacred parts of her story, not exposing them, not using them as ammunition in the next argument. It's not about being her savior. She doesn't need rescuing, but she does need reassurance. Reassurance that your love has depth, that your loyalty has roots, that your words have weight, not just when they're said, but when they're proven. You want to build a life she loves being part of? Then be the place where she doesn't have to choose between love and dignity. Yeah.
Them
Be the
rickety
place where she knows she
vans,
can show up
them
fully and still
buses,
feel covered.
them charter
That's the
buses.
real test of love.
When the
Not
train
what you say
station
when things are
here
good,
in
but who you are
downtown
when
been
it comes to the
already
rules.
fixed.
So
If it was
yes,
the same
love
problem,
her
why
in
is it taking
public.
longer to
Let
fix
the
in our
world know she
neighborhoods?
matters to you. But protect her.
Why is the train taking so long to fix? We got
Let her
places
know
to
she
be.
matters more than the world. Because when your love is loud enough to be seen and gentle enough to be trusted, you won't just win her attention.
You want to know what I gotta
you win
say?
her heart. And once you have
Jersey
that,
City
everything
is
changes.
so diverse.
What? At the end of the day,
So why
building a
do we
life a
treat
woman wants to be
black
part
people
of
the way
isn't
we
about having
do?
all the right
Oh, we need
answers.
a
It's about
medic.
showing up with the
Right
right
here.
heart. It's about the consistency when the excitement fades, the kindness when no one else is watching. The strength that doesn't need to overpower because it knows how to cover. She doesn't need you to be a hero. She needs you to be real, to be steady in your character, to be honest in your intentions, to be safe, not perfect, but safe. Because love isn't just about how well you speak. It's about how deeply you listen. It's not about how high you rise. It's about who you bring with you. And it's not about getting someone to love you. It's about becoming someone worth loving every single day. So don't just build a life that looks good from the outside. Build one that feels good to come home to. One that brings peace. One that brings purpose. One that doesn't just impress her, but includes her. Because when you build that kind of life, you won't have to convince her to stay. She'll stay because she sees you've already made room for her heart to belong. And that's the kind of man worth building with. You.